Those of you that feel like you may be going through a pruning season in your life, then this message is for you. Baby, pruning is not pretty. There's nothing pretty about pruning and going through pruning season. It hurts. And you will be squeezed to the point where you feel like, God, I can't be squeezed anymore I'm just going to be real with you. Pruning is not pretty, but the beautiful thing about it, there is some beauty in being pruned. Even though it doesn't feel like it, and you want to rush the process. But hear me good. If you are going through a pruning season right now, please be in that season and get everything out of this pruning process that God has for you to get. When you're going through a pruning season, the Bible says in John 15:2 that Jesus prunes the ones that he loves. It actually mentions that it's a reward to go through a pruning season because Jesus prunes the ones of us that he loves. If you're not being pruned, that means you're not producing fruit. Only vines that are producing fruit gets pruned so you can produce more fruit. So if you're not producing any fruit, then you get cut off. And you know the Bible says that apart from God, we can do nothing. So while you're in this pruning process, go through it. Do not rush the process. Even though you're going to feel like when you're almost done, when you're almost through, this is how you can know when you're almost through your pruning process, is when you feel like, Lord, I can't take one more thing. When you get to the point where you feel like I can't take one more thing, that's when you're on the verge of coming out of it and on the verge of your breakthrough. But my advice would be to you, while you're going through this pruning process, take this time to lean into God like never before. When I say lean into him, I mean get into that word. Find out what that word says about you, about your life, about what you may be going through. Ask God, what is he speaking to you? What is he trying to correct? What is he trying to perfect in this pruning season in your life? Don't look at it as a punishment. It's not a punishment. It might feel like it is at times, but pruning is not a punishment, I promise you. If you go through it, make the most of that pruning process. Make the most of it. Ask questions. Spend time with God. You're going to have to cut off some things. When you're going through being pruned, things are going to be cut off. Things are going to be cut back. Baby, it's a time when you're going to have to cut that TV off. You might have to cut some people off. You're going to have to cut off being on the phone with people, just being on the phone, just talking and whatever. You're going to have to cut some of that off. When you are going through the pruning process, you want to be all in. You want to be all ears. You want to hear everything that God is saying to you in that season. You don't want to miss anything. You cannot afford to miss anything. But I promise you, if you go through it and get through the pruning process and get to the other side and get what God is trying to say to you in that season, you're going to be so much better because of it. You're going to come out of this pruning process so much better. You're going to come out of it with more focus. Your focus is going to go from being wide to narrow. The pruning process will narrow your focus. It's going to make you focus on the things that are important. It's going to make you focus on things that are purpose-driven. You're not going to be focusing on anything else. But the pruning process is about making you better, making you stronger, and making you produce more fruit. So even though pruning is not pretty, when you go through it, you're going to be pretty amazing because you're going to be better, you're going to be stronger, and I promise you, others are going to see more fruit in your life.